What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. It's Friday. We made it through the week. Got the whole weekend to play some games. Trying to figure out what I'm going to play. Let me know what you're playing this weekend down in the comments. But I know I'm probably going to be working my way through Gears of War over the next week or so leading into Gears of War 5. So I'll probably continue working through that. I'm just about done the first one, about to move in to the second one. Probably some Dragon Quest XI-S and a few other games like Creature in the Well, which we'll talk about soon. But today we have quite a few things to go over because yes, that Nintendo Direct speculation is really ramping up now with more information coming out about mystery listings and everything. And we're to the point where we're reading into these Nintendo of America Twitter posts. We're gonna talk about that. And then GameStop got an odd boost. Yeah, from an unlikely spot, but we'll go over that as well. As always, guys, enjoy these videos. Make sure to hit the like button. It does help out, and get subscribed if you want to stay up to date on all the gaming news going on out there in the gaming world. We're going to start today with Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk 2077 was actually front and center at Gamescom. A lot of journalists and people in the media got a chance to see the game, actually played, and I think some even got to play it. But here's the thing. We didn't really get to see it. However, we already knew that at least a week or so afterwards, they would be releasing at least some footage of the game, and it looks like they are going to do just that, similar to what they did last time. Remember last time they had this obscenely long stream of gameplay on Twitch? They're going to be doing something similar. I think it's going to end up being shorter, about 15 minutes, and they're going to drop that next Friday, August 30th, 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern. There will be a stream where they do about 15 minutes of edited gameplay. So they'll cut it up and put it all together and everything, similar to what they showed pretty much all of the press and everything here at Gamescom. So exciting stuff to look forward to. Really looking forward to Cyberpunk next year in April, and they're at least showing us more and more stuff. Definitely gameplay. Gameplay is the biggest thing, and I'm glad we're going to get apparently 15 minutes of it, so look forward to that. Also, we've talked about Microsoft Game Pass, XCloud pretty consistently, and I think I understand what they're doing here and where their goals and what their envisioned future is here for the entire thing. And it looks like Game Reactor was talking to representatives of Microsoft, and they managed to get a quote from them that pretty much shows me where they're going with Game Pass, saying, we would like to see Game Pass on all platforms ultimately, and I think that is a long-term goal. We don't have any specific plans today, but we would love to see Game Pass really go everywhere. And yes, those are two representatives from Microsoft, Ben Decker being one of them, who talked to Game Reactor about this. And, well, the thing about this is Game Pass and xCloud, I think, are going to be pretty much intertwined, so that, yes, then it can go anywhere. It doesn't even matter if the system itself can run the thing, as long as the system has a stable connection to the internet, it can stream it. So if it's like a phone, guess what? Your phone now has Game Pass. If it's your Switch that's hooked up to your internet at home, but you're, walk around the house with it, guess what? That has Game Pass, or tablets or anything else at home, or anything with a web browser even. So yeah, I think that is their goal. Get xCloud and Game Pass together, and I think we're going to see that happen later on this year when they're supposed to start doing some kind of rollout for it. I think all of a sudden it's going to be like, oh, you got Game Pass, guess what? You have xCloud and you have access to all these games. Something that Stadia still hasn't been able to figure out when it comes to that, a subscription-based service tied to their subscription-based service. Oh, this is pretty funny. Check this out. You remember the 360? Some of us barely remember it at this point, since it feels like we've been in this generation long enough, and that one was even longer. But the 360 got another update yesterday. It was weird, I know. Out of nowhere, apparently it got a system update. According to Larry Herb, Major Nelson, who posted on Twitter, it's for mostly minor bug fixes. Maybe they found some kind of exploit or some little security flaw, and they just wanted to patch it up. But it's just funny to think about how the 360 just gets a system update. Although the PS3 got an update earlier this year, so I guess it's not that weird, but they are becoming legacy at this point if they aren't already. I'm curious how many people really still fire up and use their Xbox 360. I'm sure there's some people out there, and I'm sure Microsoft still counts those in their Xbox Live user numbers, but I mean, I feel like at this point they're just going to cut complete support, including updates, but apparently not. Also, if you missed it, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the alpha, the 2v2 alpha, is now out. It released yesterday, surprisingly. They seem to do it a day early. Infinity Ward did. And you can go on your PlayStation 4 and just download it. It's just available for anyone there to do. You don't have to pre-order or anything like that, and it throws you into a single match type called Gunfight that is 2v2, and basically your loadout changes constantly, and it's first team to 6. The rounds last like 30 seconds, but it's really fun, and it gives you an idea of the game itself. Yeah, there'll probably be microtransactions after it reviews, but I'm more interested in the campaign at this time, and then of course the new engine that they're going to be showing off with the game. But you can technically go download it for free and try it out. And guys, some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's talk about this Nintendo Direct speculation that is really starting to ramp up now. So we talked about those mystery SKUs the other day, right? They're popping up in GameStop's website, or well, in their system at their stores, and we know what happens when that takes place. Generally, that means we're leading into some kind of event, and we know Nintendo likes to hold directs generally in September after their Indie Direct that we've already had. They called Indie World, and then of course saw those 12 mystery SKUs pop up. So everything kind of seems on track, and then something else happens. Here's a tweet put out, as you're seeing here, from Sabi, pointing out that even more SKUs have actually been added. Now, SKUs, of course, are stock keeping units, and it just says available SKUs. We appear to be up to 18 now. That's right, 18. There's quite a few. Now, some of these could be special edition ones. That's possible, I guess, but it looks like we are going into some sort of direct, most likely. It's September. Shocking, I know, but that is now, of course, taking over parts of the internet with Twitter, forums, and stuff all waking up now to the point where Nintendo put out this tweet and they use the word sunshine, and now everyone thinks that Mario Sunshine is coming back. Now, it's possible they could remaster it, and that would be pretty cool. I just think it's funny that as soon as all of this stuff starts to happen and they just use the word Sunshine, which I do think kind of was placed in there as a nice little nod to Sunshine. I don't know if that necessarily means that they're remaking it, because a lot of people don't seem to like Sunshine, which I like Sunshine. You know, I stand with Sunshine on this, but I don't know how it would work with the Switch anyway, because it doesn't have analog triggers like the GameCube did, where you would slowly press down to shoot water from Flood, and then you push all the way down to do like a full spray. I don't know how that would work. But nonetheless, Sunshine, right? Yeah, they could change it maybe. Who knows? The right stick or something. I don't know. But yes, the speculation is running wild. We have rumors all over the place now popping up. We might do a rumor wave at some point over the weekend. I'll give you a few. There is some legitimacy, it seems, to something like older Assassin's Creeds possibly being announced, like a 4 or something. That's been put out there already. So yeah, stuff is going crazy right now in the direct speculation rumor mill. Now, I did talk about before how it seemed like these would pop up, these SKUs would pop up even before E3 at times, so they were kind of older. Well, the ones that were in there before popped up after E3, and these ones just popped up seemingly in the last 48 hours. I checked in with some other people at different GameStops, and they all confirmed that this seemed to be new. Like, these were new SKUs that popped up. So yeah, I guess look forward to something coming up soon. September Direct, first half, I would say, leading into the holidays. And you never know, maybe they'll announce something cool that's still coming out this year. I mean, you never know, right? I mean, wasn't it, I guess, around this time, you know, a few years ago that we found out that Doom was coming out, right? Later on that year. So, I mean, I guess you never know until that fall direct passes, and we're still waiting on the Super Nintendo games. Maybe that's one of the big drops. Hey guys, we're dropping some Super Nintendo games starting this month, which means they'd have to probably do it like within the first 15 days of September, because they would then drop it in that third week or so, and then boom, Mario World Link to the Past on the online app. I think at that point people will be pretty happy. Next up, let's talk about something that everyone seems to be really concerned about, and to a degree, yes, it is an issue with privacy, but it is also kind of outlined in the privacy agreements, and I think at this point, most of us know our devices listen to us, but Vice had an interesting article all about this. They broke the news that contractors that Microsoft had hired, so not necessarily employees of Microsoft, but contractors that they hired to work on this, had been listening to recordings that the Xbox One Kinect was indeed taking of people in their homes, whether it was kids even, or just straight up adults. Basically, if you were using the Kinect, they were probably recording you to then try to improve the service. But there were also times where maybe you didn't mean to activate the Kinect, but it would go into this mode where it would listen for the next command, whether it's Xbox on or Xbox record that, even if it was not technically on, if it's in sleep mode and it hears Xbox, it starts to listen to the stuff right after that. And that is something that people are concerned about. But of course, people also have things like, Alexa or the Google Home or your cell phones. These are all things that do listen to you, and I think it's been proven, and at the most point people believe it, but we all still use them anyway. But yes, that seems to be, I guess, news just in general for the Kinect, but it's not really anything new. To be honest, I think it is odd that they were using contractors that they say they're paying $10 an hour for and put them under NDAs, but of course, you could have some pretty serious information kind of being passed around in those recordings. So consider that. At this point, though, I guess the Kinect is done. I don't think it's coming back. Even Cortana is being replaced at this point, but they were studying stuff from not only the Kinect, but Cortana. So keep that in mind the next time, I guess, you're around microphones or your phone or something. Yeah, most likely you're being recorded and they're probably listening to it for whatever reason. But Microsoft has now said they're going to try to make it as clear as possible in their privacy statements that you're being listened to. Next up, let's talk about a boost that GameStop seemed to have got just out of nowhere, like in a day. It's a bit interesting how stocks can work in the stock market and everything, and it's very difficult to understand, I would say, at this point. But people do invest in them a lot, and people do listen to others who have had a lot of success in the stock market. Even if it was like overnight success, generally they will listen and kind of act accordingly, and that seems to have been what happened here. It seems like GameStop got a pretty good jump in their stocks that have been plummeting like crazy, and that's probably something that they, I would say, need going into the next generation. They will make it to the PlayStation 5 and the Scarlet. I know there's been a lot of speculation as to them not making it, but they actually do have decent cash flow that will at least get them to the point where all of that will release, which could make or break them. It's going to use physical media, we know that, but what happened? Well, it looks like we had a person who actually said that they are really interested in GameStop. This is from Michael Burry, who made a ton of money betting against subprime mortgages, but the big thing here is that he is long on GameStop, as in he is going to continue investing and holding in GameStop, and at this point, I would assume so. He does own 3 million shares, which should kind of tell you how he feels about GameStop at this point, but this is what he had to say. The streaming narrative, dovetailing with the cycle, is creating a perfect storm where things look terrible. It looks worse than it really is. Now, he goes on to talk more about their balance sheets and everything, so he at least understands what's going on there. And this is the thing, when stocks go down and it's this bad, a lot of people assume that it has bottomed out and now is when you buy in, and that's pretty much what he is referring to, because when the next systems come out, it will then jump. Here's the thing though, I don't think he's looking 15 years down the road. I think he's looking 4 years down the road, 3 years, 2 years. Like, he's thinking, okay, if we buy in now and then the new systems come out and this stock triples, which wouldn't be that much, it'd go up to like $12 then, because it's at like $4. It jumped 13% yesterday. At that point, we make a bunch of money. So I don't think he's actually saying that GameStop is going to be around forever or a long, long time. I think he's saying, hey guys, it's going to make the next generation, and then we cash out. Just something to think about there. Although I guess he has a lot of money invested in GameStop anyway, he could also be trying to maybe help right the ship. We'll see. And our last bit of news, let's talk about that Ghostbusters remaster that's coming out this fall. It's looking pretty good, I would say. I'm excited to play it, but it did have multiplayer on the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360. I remember specifically playing the Xbox 360 one. You could play online with your friends. However, it looks like the remaster will not have that multiplayer there on day one. It's going to be patched in. But it was also talked about how apparently this is being built from the ground up, and I guess that would make it work better with modern consoles. Maybe they looked at it and said, well, we're going to have to rebuild it. It's not going to be ready day one. So unfortunately, you're going to be playing through it alone. However, we did have different missions and stuff that you would basically go off and play. So maybe they'll even add some missions and some extra stuff to it. Either way, I'm still looking forward to Ghostbusters because I wanted to play back through it, I guess with the newer systems and everything, and it was a fun game. If you missed out on it, I would definitely keep this one on your radar, even though we've heard now that multiplayer won't be there at launch. Still worth looking into. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day as you're seeing here. This one is from Eileen Jimenez, and it says, it's strange that Koei Tecmo didn't think to use the amiibo for Monster Rancher. I mean, it's kind of obvious since it's on the Switch. Well, here's the thing about, I guess, Monster Rancher in general. It's also being made, as far as we can tell, for phones, we think, on both. So if they are accommodating both of those, then they would need to figure out a system that it just worked across the board. Now, even if it was on the Switch by itself, I don't know if they would use the Amiibo anyway, because they don't actually benefit from it. Nintendo likes to use the Amiibo because they sell the Amiibo, right? That's the whole thing, whereas they wouldn't be selling it. So I wish they could have come up with a better way to summon these monsters rather than just look up CDs and all this stuff, because once we figure it out, we just pass it around. It's a bit different when you actually had to go out and hope that your parents had the CD like downstairs or in, you know, the bookshelf or something. Whereas now you'll just tell each other what the right CD is. But yeah, I do wish they could have come up with a better way. Also, you're describing technically something like Skylanders, though, if you also consider that, since that's basically what we're doing with the Amiibo. You'd be collecting them, scanning them in, and then getting a monster in the game. Ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit the like button, it really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about, whether it's the Nintendo Direct speculation hype. The hype train is about to start rolling. I'm gonna tell you guys that now. It's over the next 2 weeks, you're really gonna see it ramp up. So, you know, just keep grounded somewhat. I mean, expect to have some really cool stuff announced when they do eventually announce the Direct that we all assume is coming. But, you know, be careful with some of that hype. It can get a little out of control. Also, let me know what you think about GameStop getting a bit of a boost there. And can you think of any other way that Monster Rancher could let you summon monsters? Because I really can't, since we're not using CDs anymore. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.